Hello, welcome back to Close to Home Southington's November sampler block of the month. This month, we're going to be making the Kansas Troubles block. This 12-inch block is broken down into two 6-inch blocks on the top and two 6-inch blocks on the bottom. So what we're going to do today is we're going to go over making half square triangles with a new tool called Thangles. We've done it in the past, so it might be new to some of you, so I would like to go over that. So this month, we're going to be using the finished 1.5-inch Thangle. Okay, and I'll show you those in a second. Once we construct this, it's just a matter of putting our 4 blocks together. So I'll go over this block with you with the Thangles. I'd like to show you all the different sizes that Thangles come in. They come in a very mini, which I did not include here, but they range anywhere from 1 inch all the way up to 5.5 and larger. This month, we will be using the 1.5-inch finished Thangle. The nice thing about finished Thangles is that when you want a 1.5-inch finished, all you have to do is remember to add 1/2 inch to your strips. That's it. No 7/8 rule, anything like that, or cutting them on the diagonal or sewing them from the center. The papers are going to do everything. It's a little mix of paper piecing, which I think you'll like. And we can also chain piece our Thangle sheets together. All right, so let's get into the cutting and we'll go over what you're going to need. So for the multi-floral, we're going to cut our rectangle into 2 6 and 7/8 inch squares, and we're going to cut each one on the diagonal once. Our black rectangle, we are going to cut into 2 3 and 7/8 inch squares and cut that on the diagonal once. Our tan is a rectangle, so we're going to go along the longest side and we're going to cut along 2-inch strips. That's for our Thangle. And then what's remaining is 4 2-inch squares, which are corners for each of our 6-inch finished Kansas Trouble blocks. And then the last one, it's pretty much the same as the tan. It has a very long edge. It's approximately 11, give or take. You're only going to need 9.5 for the Thangle, so you're good. But we're going to cut an entire strip, 3 of them, at 2 inches wide. And then what's remaining on that red, we're going to cut into 4 2 3/8 inch squares, and we're going to cut those 2 3/8 inch squares in half on the diagonal. All right, so let's get into making Thangles. I've put my 3 pieces here. You're actually going to need a total of 16 half square triangles. These papers that we're making, each paper yields 6 half square triangles. Yep, and we need 16. So in total, we're going to be making 18 because we get 6 on each sheet, and we won't be using 2 of them. Okay. All right, so to start, I'm just going to take my red and my tan and cut my 2-inch square, 2-inch strips from them. So we'll even this up a little bit on the edge, measure over. Got a nice straight line. We're going to measure over our 2 inches, and again, all Thangles are cut 1/2 inch wider than our finished size, and they're going to fit right on the papers. So we need 3 strips, just like the cutting directions. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take our Thangles and place them on, so our fabrics were right sides together, 2 inches wide. We're going to place our papers on them. Notice how they fit right on top of our strips. And we're going to pin these in place, and then we're going to sew them on the dashed lines. So when we sew, we're going to sew from the corner down the dashed line. I'm going to put the next Thangle, and you'll see I'll sew on that one, and come back up this one, and then go back down and come back up, and go back down and come back up that side. So we can chain piece. I've done probably 6 or 7 in a row to chain piece these together. They go very quickly when you do it that way. You can make a lot of half square triangles. Let me just get a couple of these. So what I like to do is put the pins between the dashed lines. So when I'm sewing, my foot's not going to actually hit the pin. So hold this in place, make sure that's nice up on the sides, and give yourself a little pinning. And I do one more at the bottom, and I'm going to do that for this one. So my fabric kind of shifted, so let's get that back. Get my paper right on top of it. And again, your paper goes on the wrong side of the lightest strip, okay? And that'll help you with the pressing. And we're just going to pin a couple more. And the last one. There we go. Get it all on top of each other. Ouch. Whoops. I'm bleeding. Okay. All right, so we're going to take these over, and I'll tell you a few tricks to use while sewing Thangles. Okay. So the first thing you want to remember is, because it's a lot like paper piecing, you want to be able to tear your paper away very easily when it comes time to removing it. So we're going to use a shortened stitch, maybe 1.5, 1.6 millimeters long, pretty short. Also, we're going to use what's called an open toe. This one happens to be a Bernina feet, but they all look the same. So my needle would literally be right here, and I have a very wide opening so I can see exactly where I'm stitching. There's nothing in front of the needle. So that's extremely helpful when I'm going down trying to follow these lines. I remember having you use it when we did paper piecing this past year. So you'll be able to sew right on those lines. And we're going to chain stitch our Thangles together. So again, whoops, let me change my foot. And we're just going to start in this upper corner at the top, and we're going to stitch down here, and we're going to add the next strip. So just drop your shorten your length a little bit, and go ahead and sew right down that line. Oh boy. Hold on. Try that again. Alright, so we're going to go right down the dashed lines. Remember, we're sewing on the dashed line. I'm coming to the end. I'm going to place my next Thangle, paper piecing, and I'm lining it up with this dot on my stitch plate, but it's going to continue right through to this one. Stop and get the next one. Beautiful. Alright, so all those top ones are done. When you get to the end, you just want to stitch off. You're going to needle up, pick the foot up, and you're just going to pivot all your Thangle pieces, and we're going to start on the next row, which is right here. All right, so your needle goes right into the corner, right on the dashed line, and we're going to continue up this one, and meet up with this one, and get this one ready. Just going to continue to do that. Lift my needle, come all the way down the strip, go down to the next one, and we're going to chain this one together as well. You see they go together very, very, very quickly. All right, you get the hang of it? Okay. So what we're going to do when we're done with all of those dashed lines, we're going to take it over to our cutting table. Now remember, I have my half square triangle, so this was just a sample. You're going to remove all the needles, pins, sorry. And we're going to cut our thangles apart. Remember, they have a little bit of a gap between them. So you would go all the way from the bottom and continue to cut those apart. All right. Then we're going to use our ruler to cut on the solid lines. Okay. So on this solid line, and we're going to cut them apart, and again on every single solid. So I'm taking the line on my ruler, lining it up right on the edge of my Thangle paper, and bringing this across the top of my solid line, and I'll trim this away. Okay. Same with this one. Find my line on my ruler, line it up with the paper, and again trim my Thangle. And you're going to continue this all the way down, okay, with all three of them. The next thing, oh, and don't forget the one right here at the bottom. You're also going to want to cut that one too. So top, this one, this one, this one, and 3 on the diagonal. All right, so we're going to take our ruler one more time and rotary cut our Thangle apart, again on the solid line. Okay, that's not as important as sewing on the line, so if you're off just a little bit, that's perfectly fine. Okay, so now we're going to tear these off, and we're going to press them, and we're going to make a half square triangle. So what I like to do is just bend the paper back a little bit, give it just a tiny pull, and it just rips right away. Okay, I'll do one more. Just give it a little crease, hold it up at the corner nice and tight so you're not pulling any stitches, and then it's just going to pull right away. Okay. All right, so now we want to go press these all to the dark side. So we'll put the dark side up, give it a little bit of heat, and I can't express enough or emphasize enough how much you should best press your kit before you sew them. There's a lot of half square triangles, a lot of 45-degree bias edges, so you want to make sure that you fully best press your kits first, all right? And then go ahead and press your half square triangles. And like I said, I already have a bunch of them cut out. You ready to go construct your block now, okay? Alrighty. Okay, so again, you need 16 half square triangles. And what you're going to do is sew them, follow the directions. If you get confused, just it'll all be written on your directions. So 4 of these on each side are going to be sewn together into together. So you'll have 4 groups of these. The next thing you want to do is go grab a sorry, a red triangle that you've cut, and we're going to add it to this side. Okay, so here's one of them. So I'm going to sew this down, and notice how it fits right on my 90 degree, fits right across here, and the point fits right across here. So we're going to sew that, get that straight across and straight down the edge, and we'll sew that at 1/4 of an inch. So that's one. So we're going to make 4 of these half square triangle, and we're going to press it toward the triangle. The next group are this set over here, and you'll notice that the triangles are opposite. So again, follow your directions, and to this set we're going to take our triangle, we're going to add it to the opposite side. And we're also going to end it with a square. Okay? So this unit has 3 pieces, this unit has 4, and each one gets 4. Okay. So let me go sew these, and then we'll start putting our block together. I'll show you, it'll be a little bit easier once these are together. Make sure you sew the right side, which is this one, and this one. So let's just go do these. This one gets pressed to the square, this one gets pressed to the triangle. Change my foot back to the 1/4 inch foot, and change my stitch back to my normal piecing stitch, which is usually a 2. Okay. So again, my 90 degree is right on top of each other, and I'll just go ahead and clear my stitch length back to normal, and we'll go ahead and do this. Try not to stretch it, keep them right on top of each other. And then I have this block, and again, we're going to make 4 units each. I have that one. And this one. I like to start from the 90 degree corner. It seems to be easier than trying to put a triangle through it. So let's go press these and finish constructing our square. Like I said, this 4 one gets all pressed toward the square. So I'll just give it a little gentle pull and get those little bit of heat. And then this one gets pressed toward the triangle, the red triangle. There we go. And a little bit of heat. You can flip it over and give it a little bit better press if you'd like. It's totally up to you. But you should have nice straight sides when you're constructing these. All right, so last thing we want to do is we're going to take this one, put it across the top, and we're going to put this one along the side, and we're going to add a black triangle. So these 2 get sewn down through here very easily by putting our 90 degree corner together and coming out right at that point. Okay, once we have that sewn, we're going to add our top unit, again starting here at the 90 degree corner, matching our seam and going across. Okay. And then it's very simple. We're just going to add our last 6 7/8 multi-floral. And again, this should be the exact same size as the unit underneath it. Okay. And a nice straight 1/4 inch seam there. So you're going to make 4 of these. Remember, 4 of these, 4 of these. You cut 2 of those in half. You have 4 of those. Everything's all set. And you can arrange your Kansas Trouble in either direction. If you wanted to put your pieced side here, that's perfectly fine too. A couple things I do want to remind you about is sign up for the 2021 Saturday Sampler coming up January. So we're taking sign-ups. Your first kit is $10, so please join us. I can't tell you the colors. I know you'll love them. And you can pick up your kit on Friday, November 13th, and you can deposit your $10 for your January block. Okay, these Thangles 1.5 were last used in a Saturday Sampler in the December 2014 quilt. That was, if you remember, that was the blue and white quilt that we did a little bit of a flange on. Okay, so we used them back in 2014 if you were with us then. So I'm glad you watched the entire video so you knew the answer to that. And I'll see you on Friday. Pick up your kit. Thank you so much. Bye.